Alrighty, we are live. Hello and welcome to the Business Octopus live stream. We talk about all things sales, marketing, and technology. And I'm Aidan Collis, CRM and marketing automation specialist at Relevate, which is also the group that runs the Relevate community. So we have an online portal where we talk about digital transformation technology, and you can join that one at the link now on screen. That will also be in the description should you wish to come back later. All right. So today, I guess I haven't done a live stream for a little while, and my last one was a raving success. But it is difficult to keep coming up with topics. So I'd appreciate if you've got any questions, you put them in the comments, and then I can address them directly. Last week, we celebrated a member joining the YouTube supporter program. So basically jumping on our YouTube channel and saying, well done, thank you for creating content. And it went pretty well. So today we're going to talk about personal knowledge management. Now, we covered this topic in the community the other night, and I actually did a presentation on the tool that I'm going to talk about. And it basically goes into a little bit more depth about how to use it, why use it, etc. But for today's live stream, we'll keep it nice and high level for you. But personal knowledge management. Well, you've probably heard of the term knowledge management, which is articles, videos. This is a form of knowledge management, but there's lots of knowledge out there. The next problem is, how do you organize it? How do you know what to search, when to search, why you would look for that piece of information? Sometimes we've got a lot of knowledge in and around us. I'm sitting right now in front of about 20 or so notebooks that I've taken over the years, where I've collected information and I've stored it, I've written it down. And this has, been very useful at the time to write this information down. And now I find, I've just gone back and read through some of the old articles, and I've reignited old ideas, rethought of things that I hadn't thought of for a very long time. Now, the brain is a very complex thing. It connects things in different ways. You've got all these different nodes of synapses that then grow new connections. And what happens is you absorb a lot of information, and then when you go to sleep at night, your brain makes all of those connections in the background. There's a whole bunch of basically like a chemical storage system. So it's not a factual storage system. It generally relates to how you feel about that bit of information. So in order to expand and extend that, we need to create a physical knowledge management system. So first of all, there's the collection of it, which is what I've done here in the notepad, basically as I've needed it. And some things are dot points. It's not the full information, but it's just one little line that is enough to trigger an expanded thought in my head. So knowledge management is the collection, creation, processing, and structuring of that information so you can go and find it later. That's knowledge management. So you can do that when you're doing knowledge articles. You can do that when you're doing things like YouTube videos, and you're putting meta tags and descriptions and search criteria. The next thing we're doing is when we're creating a type of note-taking system, which you do for yourself, and as is evidenced in these notepads and things that I've got here. I only showed you half the amount of notepads that I've got. So I've got a lot of content saved that I've collected over the years. And in order to make effective use of that, I need to put a structure around it. Otherwise, you've got a whole bunch of unknown knowns. Now, there's a theory or a construct which confuses some people, but you've got known knowns. That's the things that you know. You've got known unknowns. That's the things that you know that you have no clue about. I know that I know nothing about how to build a rocket engine. Then you've got known or unknown knowns. That's the things that you've remembered but you've forgotten. The things that you've learned and you've written down somewhere, but now you can't find it. or maybe you've saved it somewhere and then forgotten about it. That's probably a better description of that. And then you've got your unknown unknowns, right? So I have no idea about what I don't know. So I have no understanding or comprehension of some topic that I've never even heard of. And I can't know that I don't know that topic because I've never even heard of it. So as much as that construct confuses people, I think the unknown knowns is pretty fixable, and it's pretty important to understand how you can improve your uh, personal knowledge management, collection management, etc. So a unknown known, let's just say you've had a meeting with the team, you've spent a couple of days, weeks, whatever, building out a process, and then you've documented it. Or maybe you've built this whole amazing strategy plan. Maybe you've hired in a consultant, spent millions of dollars on X, this brilliant looking plan, done consultations, etc. Then you save it in a folder somewhere, and then the worst thing that happens is you never look at it again. The amount of times that happens is phenomenal. So I think a lot of value can be created by reducing your unknown knowns. And what I mean by that is creating a structure and a system to be able to go back and find it. Part of it is a little bit of discipline in the moment so that when you are doing the data collection, that you are taking steps to make that findable, searchable, etc. So sometimes content within a document is not necessarily searchable, or if it is, it's not categorized in the right way, or only part of it is searchable. For example, you might be able to search the title and a few tags in like a digital file system. The next thing might be, excuse me, the next thing might be that you are looking for the wrong word. And that's where you need to look at maybe fuzzy logic search. So fuzzy logic search is when you digitize this content, is a way to search information that is close to what you've searched. Maybe there's a spelling mistake. Maybe there's a couple of ways to actually spell it, like the word defense can be with an S if you're in the US, or a C if you're in Australia or the UK. So in order to create a better environment to grab information, I use a tool, a note-taking tool, and every time I have a mental connection with something, I'm not creating perfect notes by any means. And digital is a great way to collect information. So I'm not by any means creating beautiful notes. I'm not by any means categorizing everything perfectly, because otherwise, if I'm on a train of thought, I need to go down that line of thinking and follow where my brain's going to go to have the most effective output of that. Whereas if I just simply wrote something down and stayed on that one topic and then stopped thinking about anything else while I went and filed it away in a particular folder, subfolder, and subfolder, then I'm probably going to have 50 ideas while I'm moving it around that I'm not going to capture effectively. So I think there's two modes for collection. One is follow your brain where it goes, because sometimes you can have this amazing idea and then 10 seconds later it's completely gone and you never think of it again. Or you get frustrated, and you know the feeling when you've thought of something amazing and then like something else has come into your consciousness and distracted you from it. And then you go, I don't know what it was, but I know it was amazing. Why can't I think of it again? So I think it's really important to follow your brain. The next thing is then organizing that stream of consciousness, that wild and crazy thought that comes out of your head. And you might make abstract connections, which is actually what helps the brain form strong connections. If you're sitting there watching a mundane topic, we've all heard the saying death by PowerPoint. But if you're watching a topic and then you connect that to a barbecue you had on the weekend, or a thought of throwing a stick and having a dog grab it and bring it back, like abstract thoughts help cement memories. So sometimes a great way even just to remember names is to think about something weird about that person or something jarring and shocking. That will help you to associate the name, even if it's not true, it's just a little story you made up. That can help associate the name and really lock it in. So next time you walk into that person, you think of the weird thing and then you go, that triggers the name memory. So that's a very powerful way to collect information. And the tool that I use for that is a platform called Obsidian. Now, it's nothing new. It's been around for quite a while. And there's a concept around it if you look up the term Zettelkasten. So there are tons of YouTube videos, tons of articles on this. Basically, it's this guy who was a German sociological academic who then created this slip note system before the computers were able to operate in this way. So the slip note system, literally, Zettelkasten means slip note in German, and it's kind of like library cards where it's got a reference number, and you take each idea and you break it down into pieces, and then you link them back to a main idea. Now, yes, the card system is a bit slower, but now with modern technology, you can easily type that reference. So I would write a sentence, and then maybe there's a keyword that I think I want to connect other ideas based on, for example, location. I have a keyword I use quite often, and Brisbane. So if I'm meeting with someone, I'm going to say met with insert name, that becomes a keyword. Then they are from Brisbane. I met them at such and such a networking event. And all of those key things that I paused for just now, name, Brisbane, networking event, they are all keys that I can then relate to other notes. So let's say I meet 10 other people in Brisbane. Now I can look up everybody I know in Brisbane. Or I meet 10 other people in that networking event. Now I can look up everybody I know from that networking event. Now I've got an idea on how I know these things, because if I am thinking about a person, I need to associate it to either where I met them, because these things come up in conversation. So where I met them, how I met them, if there was like some unique scenario or situation, what context, was it a sales conversation, networking call, things like that. And then also perhaps what other things are synonymous about that person, or who introduced me, or who did they introduce me to, so that you can track that back. Because when you have that conversation with the person that they introduced you to, maybe you booked it for like a week, 2 weeks. There's times before my note-taking system that I would jump into a meeting and I'd be like, so why are we meeting again? Who are you? But now I can easily search up the name, look up the reference, and see it within a few seconds. So the most important part of that is the time it takes you to find that information will determine whether or not you are actually going to act on it and use it. Otherwise, if it takes you 30 seconds to find the information or 5 seconds to find the information, you're actually going to get value from having stored that information. But if you have to go up, log into something, look in a database, do something else, you're just not going to do it because it's going to take too long, and you're just going to put it in the too hard basket. Your brain will have moved on. So you need to be able to rapidly take notes. Okay, like I said, I've got a whole video on that in the Relevate community, which you can see at the link below. Now, I will hide that. Okay. Now, in order to group your ideas, you should really look at what's called a map of content. Now, this is nothing unusual. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You'll have seen it around the place. So this is not only part of personal knowledge management, but corporate knowledge management. So if I am going to create a article, and maybe if I could put it in isolation, because like, again, you've got 1,000 ideas, but you should probably just try and focus on one thing per article. That's why using Obsidian is great, because you can instantly create multiple articles off one idea as you go. So as you type, you are linking it to or creating new an article which goes deeper on an idea. So if I wanted to say, I met this person at Brisbane, I could just quickly type in Brisbane with some brackets around it, which then creates a new page and a new link, and then just keep going with that thought. And at such and such a networking event, and they know this person. So that's now created 3 links. And I can then, if I want later or immediately, click into Brisbane and then go, this is a city in Australia. Queensland, Australia. And now I've deepened that note. If I wanted to create a further link about Queensland, I would click into Queensland and go, Queensland is a state of Australia. And then I could do another one about Australia. So as an example, creating those rapid links and connections in your neural network then makes it a lot easier for you to create um, an expansive database with a complex set of links and nodes and connections, but makes a lot of sense to you. And if you need to go deeper on an idea, you can. You don't have to go and chase every rainbow of, I created this link, I'm going to write an article, it's going to be 3 pages long in detail. No, keep it so stupidly simple, it's not funny, because you need to type as fast as you think. And if you know it, you can come back to it. If it becomes important later, you can deepen that topic. But for the short term, just note that it is a connection or a node of information. But a map of content helps connect related ideas. And that is that centralized node. So you have like 5 general topics. So let's take blogging, for example. That could be a map of content. Then you could have an article just on SEO links. Then you could have a whole bunch of articles, or sorry, SEO. So then you might have a whole bunch of articles off that. So you'd have a sub map of content, which then says everything to do with SEO, which one could be keywords, one could be volume of content, another one could be links or whatever. And then have another one on backlinks. So you could then have a whole range of articles that bounce off that one topic. Coming back though to the blog topic, that's one subset of information. The next subset of information could be copywriting and content. So that's the actual text that you're writing. So you need to make it nice for the reader. Another one might be graphic design and use of images and how to make them lighter. Basically, it becomes like a body of knowledge. So the map of content really creates a whole tree of ideas that come off that one thing. And as you go, you collect new bits of information and you store it. You don't have to store everything. You're not replicating the internet. Basically, you just need to create enough connections to enough things that maybe have references to bigger ideas that are already created by somebody else. But that's the thing, is your brain is just there making connections. It's not storing the world's endless amount of information. The biggest job it has to do, because you forget things, the biggest thing it has to do is connect. And then once you've connected, you can then rediscover and re-find all of those things that you've forgotten. Okay. Now, talking about blogs, another thing I want to talk about, I've discovered also using this this network of knowledge. So by using this Obsidian, I have found that I've written 4 times more stuff, just because I find it really easy to quickly take some high-level ideas, and then that takes me on another journey of, oh, here's another thought, here's another thought. But sometimes I can't type as fast as I think. So one way to do it better and faster is actually record my voice. So I use OneNote, or you could use about 50 different voice taking apps, as long as it transcribes your voice to text. You could open up a Zoom and hit record. I try to keep the file pretty lightweight, because obviously if you're processing video as well, now it's going to slow down the time to value. Basically, I use OneNote because there's a little dictate button. I click on that, I bring the mic close to me, I close my eyes, and I just think and I talk about what it is that I want to say. I close my eyes because I don't want to watch the words on the screen and then start thinking about and worrying about the grammar. I don't want to start worrying about if I've made a mistake. I just want to say what I want to say and get the thought out of my head. Once I've done that, the text is immediately available. So I then just copy that, paste it into AI and say, turn this into a blog. Now, this is way better than if I was just to ask AI for a blog. And I say AI because you might be using anything. You could use Copilot, ChatGPT, whatever, it doesn't matter. All I'm doing is asking it to fix my grammar and consolidate some ideas. So it's not writing for me. It's correcting my content. So I'm writing for 3 to 5 minutes. I'm getting a page and a half of content. And instead of asking ChatGPT to come up with some random piece of internet guff, and you've seen it, you've read blogs before, and you can go, clearly this is AI. Or you've read content before, and you go, this is the most generic vanilla crap I've ever seen. So all I'm doing is my ideas, my thoughts, my words, my content, and probably like 1 or 2,000 words. I'm not saying like, say, type 3 words into ChatGPT and have it come up with a novel. I am saying write your own content, place it in, and ask it to format it. It'll get rid of your ums and ahs. It'll add punctuation. It'll restructure some sentences so they actually make sense. Now, here's the good bit, is now you can go through and read it. And now you're going to make it yours. So if it's used, AI uses lots of words like unlocking, unleashing, all of these like words you read and you go, immediately that's AI. Or sometimes they put too complete of a sentence for me. I prefer to be a little bit short, sharp, and to the point, and grab a bit of attention. So when I take it out of that, I reread it, I delete anything that I think is fluff, guff, whatever, and then I might add in a few sentences for a bit of correctness, and then I post it. It's my words. It's not AI fluff. It's not long to write. I literally talk for 5 minutes, and then it takes me 2 minutes to do the edit in ChatGPT. And now I've got a blog article that would have otherwise have taken 2 to 3 hours to write. And would you have written it? Possibly not. I'm too busy. I can't be bothered. Or that seems like a mountain of effort. I really should do that, but other things get in the way because you procrastinate. You don't want to do it. So by reducing the friction, you actually make it really, really easy to do, and then you're 10 times more likely to do it. So not only do I write 6 times more, 4 times more, whatever, in my notes, it's an indicative number anyway, I also write 4 times more, 5 times more, 6 times more in my blogs. So content is king at the moment. Okay. And of course, I'm making a course. So, like I said, I've got the online community. Let me put the link up again. And in there, I've got some videos, materials, content, not too much. We've got maps of content, so you can get to an idea and then find and drill down to the right thing. And then we've also released a defense community. So if you're in a place where you can take advantage of working in the defense industry, then we've also got a website for that. You can join the standard community, and then there's a bit more information to find. So it's not for everybody, invite only. And everyone is vetted, apply to join. But nonetheless, in the community, we've got general digital transformation tips, tricks, advice, guidance, and things like that. And if you ask me a question and I don't have an answer, I'm going to go and create a video, or I'm going to create a piece of content to answer you, so that we can build the knowledge base and make it a lot easier for everybody to see the best practice, response for, how do I do this in my CRM, for example. And then there might be other members of the community get to respond and reflect and say, well, I tried that, but I found that this was more useful. So anyway, I encourage you to join. Come and say hello. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Please give us a like, a subscribe, and let us know what you thought in the comments. I'm trying to do more of these live streams, so I'm appreciative if you have a question or something you would like for me to expand upon. But otherwise, thank you. You've been watching the Business Octopus live stream. Take it easy and have a great day.